Welcome back to the Go to Go podcast, man. Episode 61, week 7 of the NFL season right around the corner, man. This week got another segment, Hot or Not. And then we're going to jump into our week 7 pick'ems, week 6 standings currently. Both went the same this week, 10-5. I'm sitting at 56-37. You're sitting at 58-35. So things still at a standstill, man. Week 7 coming right around the corner. Starting it off, man, hot or not. One of your, not your team, but team you highly rep, man. Hot or not, the Chargers will miss the playoffs once again.
I'm just going to say that's not a hot take at this moment in time, especially coming off of that Monday night loss to the Cowboys where they had a shot. It was just like a sloppy game from both, but it just came down to Dak Prescott making more plays than Herbert at the end. So that's going to be a tough division. I mean, right now the Raiders are somehow above 500. The Chiefs, we all know what they're capable of with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. And that defense is the best defense Mahomes has ever had since he's been at Kansas City. So they're pretty much locked in. Like we've been saying these past couple episodes, man, the AFC is just tough right now. Like there's a bunch of really good teams, a bunch of teams that, are making some noise that we didn't really expect. So if the Chargers, they're fringe right now. They're on the line. I could see it happening, but if they missed, I wouldn't be, super shocked. So I'm going to say it's not a hot take, the Chargers missing the playoffs. I'll have to look at the rest of their schedule and see what's going on. I know they got to play the Chiefs 2 more times, so those will be a couple tough games. But I'm going to say that's not a hot take. The Chargers could miss the playoffs, especially with their coaching and all that.
They
tough.
said that game against the Cowboys is going to be who's the least worst coach team, bro, between McCarthy and Staley.
Neither one of those coaches tried to help their teams win. It was the players that had will themselves. Like Dak Prescott making a couple nice plays down the stretch that pretty much won the Cowboys the game. Like him creating out of structure. Like there was nothing open for him in the pocket, but once he rolled out, kind of got moving outside the pocket, things opened up, which shows you the play calling from McCarthy. But that's another story.
Hot or not, there will be a new coaching staff in Buffalo next year.
I'm going to say that's a hot take right now. Just because, I feel like at this point, this is just what the Bills are, man. Especially with Josh Allen at quarterback, you're going to get those weeks when they play the Dolphins and just outscore that offense and put it to him, and Josh Allen's making all these crazy throws, and he's the biggest playmaker. And then you're going to have some of the games like you did against the Giants where you go scoreless in the first half against the New York Giants in prime time. Josh Allen, he's like a roller coaster of a quarterback. It's fun to watch, but there's definitely going to be some highs. There's definitely going to be some lows. I think McDermott's done a decent job. They're going to be contending as long as Allen's there. So I don't think they'll be bad enough to make him lose his job. Now, would you want to argue they need a new head coach, and do they need to change some things up if they want to, get to that next level, which is obviously contend for a Super Bowl and make the Super Bowl? I wouldn't say you're wrong. If you want to argue that, if you want to say that needs to happen, then sure, you I'd listen. But realistically, I think they're good enough that there's not going to be any major coaching changes or anything like that, unless they just fall off a cliff. But I don't really see that happening with that team. They got some talent. They'll be okay.
Last one up, man. Hot or not, this Browns defense will go down as one of the all-time great.
All-time, in NFL history?
NFL history.
I'm going to just say that's a hot take for right now. It has potential. Let's say it's hot, but it's on the back burner. It maybe, but it's too early right now.
Okay.
They've been very good. Everyone says every team is the best defense. Some people it's the Browns, and the 49ers are playing on prime time against the Cowboys. Oh, they got the best defense, and the Cowboys shutting out the Giants. The Cowboys have the best defense. There's a lot of good defenses this year. I'd probably favor the Browns. I'm sure we'll get to it later. You'll bring out some stats that favor the Browns. But I do think the Browns are the best defense right now, and I think they have the potential to, make some all-time historic run. But it has to happen first. Like, what they did against San Francisco was super, super impressive. And I know who's the D coordinator?
Jim Schwartz.
Jim Schwartz has history against Shanahan. I saw a stat
I
somewhere
think he's 8-1 now.
yeah,
against
and apparently
Shanahan.
Shanahan only scores like 15 points against Jim Schwartz. So, and the weather kind of played a factor too. But the Browns, they're a sleeper team. They got a really, really good defense, and in the NFL, if you got a defense, you can hang around. So, I don't think we're in all-time great talks yet, but they're trending in the right direction. So, I'll give you that credit.
All right, that's my hot or nots for this week.
All right. I got a couple similar ones, but not exactly the same. We'll start you off with the 49ers one. So I'll go hot or not. The Niners are the best one-loss team in the league.
This is not a hot take. You look at the one-loss teams. Obviously, the Eagles, the Niners, the Dolphins now, and I think the Chiefs, Lions.
Chiefs and Lions.
These are all great football teams. You can't deny the fact. I personally would obviously go to the Dolphins, the best one-loss team. Last week they trailed by Carolina by 14, and then they kind of tightened things up, got the shit back together, were able to close out the game, and it ended up being Mike White closing it out on the field. So,
come on, trailed against Carolina,
I was just saying, they haven't trailed much this season.
That's not anything crazy.
All right, but I'm saying the 49ers still deserve their credit. They are a one-loss team. They played one bad game. They went from looking unstoppable in all aspects or all phases of the game. And they just got shut down by one of the best teams in the league themselves, man. So I
don't know if I say teams, but defense, yeah.
Teams. Well, we could get into that too, but yeah,
because once you say teams, now you bringing in the offense and all that too.
I'm putting the offense in there, man. We just need a quarterback at the helm, man. That's all. But yeah, they're in the conversation, man. Best, it's up for debate.
All right. So, hot or not, after a shaky performance against the Giants, the Bills are still Super Bowl contenders.
I'm going to say that's a hot take just for the fact of the Bills so far this season, the inability to score, get the offense going. Even in London, it wasn't until the second half where they got the offense going. It really struggled in that first half. The defense has been suspect. Key injuries, Trey White, Matt Milano now done for the year too. Those are two leaders on that defensive side of the ball. Sean McDermott coach team. He's a defensive-minded coach. He's not really there for the offense. And with Josh Allen struggling, seems that we see Diggs throw a fit every week. They had the run game going with James Cook, and they kind of just each week have almost been getting away from, getting James Cook running the football. And it's kind of
I know. I traded him away. I know. In fantasy. I'm well aware.
But, yeah, they're just getting away from the stuff that's been working this year. And right now, it's just they haven't trended up on a consistent basis. There's been a lot of, the Bills scraping by. They had a good win against the Dolphins. I'll give them credit there. That was probably their best win of the year, best game they played all season. But key injuries, and when you don't have Kid or Kohu, a slot corner, guarding Diggs all game and just having Allen throw it to him, that offense looks like it struggles. And it's either Gabe Davis or Stephon Diggs, and, it's just chucking it up down the field.
And I got a third one, but I'm not even going to ask this. Let's just get into picks. There's no point.
All right. First game up, Thursday Night Football, man. Jags go to New Orleans, play the Saints, man. And Trevor Lawrence dealing with that knee injury, big question mark coming into this game. He's questionable. He said he was trending in the right direction. I believe I saw that report last night. I'm not sure if he practiced today or not. Regardless of the fact, I think the Jags get it done with T-Law out there, not out there. It's a toss-up, and I probably lean the Saints, but if I just got to pick one team right now, I mean, I'm going with the Jags. ETN has looked phenomenal these past 2 weeks, kind of coming in the form of what they expected ETN to be coming into this league. They get Calvin Ridley going at some point. You know, he had it going there early, kind of fell off a little bit. He's trying to get back into the swing of this offense, and if he does, I mean, you know, it's going to be a dangerous team. And the Saints, they're just like there. I mean, their defense is really, really good. Top 10 defense this year probably. Just that offense hasn't really gotten going. Olave hasn't gotten it clicking. Derek Carr has been banged up, has not helped at all. So give me the Jags on the road. Thursday night, low scoring Jags.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Jags here too with the asterisk next to it, depending on Trevor Lawrence or whatever. If he's on the field, I don't even think he needs to be 100%. I still like the Jags. Like you mentioned, this offense it's been not super, but it's been productive. They've had a lot of big explosive plays, but it's kind of been weird how they've gotten to it. It's been like a lot of Travis Etienne and a lot of Evan Ingram as well. Those have been the kind of two main guys. And then you sprinkle in Christian Kirk. Zay Jones has been banged up this year, and Calvin Ridley's kind of been, in and out a lot. So I think once they figure out how to get those outside weapons going a lot more consistency and a lot more often, then I think they'll have really no issues. Defensively, they've come around. I think they've had a solid defense so far this year. Young team, like we mentioned, getting better on that side of the ball. And the Saints, I just don't like their offense, man. Their defense is super, super good. I'll give them credit for that. But offensively, they just look stuck. I don't really like what they do, play calling, game plans, and stuff like that. You got Michael Thomas, who's at this point, he's not what he used to be, but he's a good receiver. Chris Olave, one of the best young talents in the league right now, and they just can't seem to get things clicking with Derek Carr. Maybe it's the injury, but, I mean, not horrible red zone offense. They can't really score the ball at all in the red zone. You got Kamara back, so I want to see the Saints offense make progress because I think they got some nice talent. But unfortunately, even at home, I just like the Jags better as a team.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Next game up, man. NFC South showdown, man.
Your Atlanta Falcons.
My Atlanta Falcons. I mean, I'm rocking with the Falcons, bro. Not really Desmond Ridder, but I rock with the Falcons. They travel to play the Bucks in Baker Mayfield, and I was rocking with the Falcons last week. They kind of made me regret my pick and my decision. So give me the Bucks. Baker Mayfield struggled last week against the Lions, who are up there, maybe in some people's rankings of the best team in the NFL currently, wherever you have them. They're a top team in the NFL right now. NFC North division winners probably at the end of the season for the first time in a very long time. But the Bucks, man, Mike Evans, he got off to a red-hot start, and then you were thinking Baker Mayfield, Mike Evans, that connection's going. Baker's the guy. A little Tampa Bay talk, but it's not there. We know what Baker is. If he can get the ball to these weapons, he can secure a couple dubs. He can lead you to a possible playoff berth, especially in this division. I mean, it's up for grabs. It's NFC South being NFC South at its peak. So now you play an NFC opponent here at home. It's kind of a must-win game for him. I mean, there's not many must-win games. I mean, every game's a must-win, but when you play a division this bad, it is a must-win game.
Yeah.
Because those division wins are going to come down to who wins this division. The Bucks defense, not really anything to rave about. Falcons defense, I mean, same there. I mean, if it's not Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier, Kyle Pitts finally catching a touchdown, the world rejoiced. I mean, Jonnu Smith's being used more in this offense than Kyle Pitts is. So it's just Arthur Smith, they said he's the most animated coach or most fun coach to watch. Well, their offense isn't fun, but Just give me the Bucks. I think they're more enjoyable to watch, kind of.
I'm gonna take the Bucks at home as well. Bucks have been a team I've kind of been a little higher on, but tough game last week, coming off of a bye week against the Detroit Lions, who, as we mentioned earlier, they only got one loss, one of the better teams in the league right now. And the Falcons coming off a bad loss to Washington, bro. I think they had more yards than Washington. They had more pass completions. They literally had better numbers across the board than the Commanders, and it just came down to that last drive. Desmond Ridder not really producing, and they just lost to the Commanders at home, I believe, as well. That was Desmond Ridder's first home loss too, I think.
Since college.
Yeah.
Well, he hasn't lost since a home game in college or the NFL till last week.
Yeah, which is insane, but I like the Bucks. I think this will be a good bounce back game. Like we mentioned, the Lions, one of the better teams. That offense is crazy. So it's going to be hard to keep up with them. So I think it'll be a lot easier to keep up with the Falcons here. You mentioned Mike Evans and Baker had a nice connection. They also had, a nice play that just got batted down at the line of scrimmage. Would have been a long touchdown to Mike Evans. He was wide open. They got Chris Godwin out there still. Really nothing from the run game, which is kind of tough. So teams just know to drop back in coverage because you're not going to do anything running the ball. So hopefully they can get the ball going on the ground a little bit just to make it easier because, as a former Baker Mayfield supporter yourself on that play action when he's got the run game going, he's a lot better quarterback. So the Falcons, I just don't, like you mentioned, bro, Jonnu Smith is getting used more than Kyle Pitts. They have talent on the outside. Drake London, he's getting involved more, which you like to see. Bijan Robinson, I think, is still behind Tyler Algier in terms of goal line attempts and goal line touches. You have all these super high capital draft picks London, Pitts, and Bijan were all taken in the top 10. Maybe even I think London was closer to 10, but Bijan, Kyle Pitts, number 4 overall pick. You're investing a lot of draft capital in these guys, and it kind of seems like you don't really use them as much. I think the Falcons have potential. Desmond Ridder, I'm with you. Not really that big of a believer in him. So I'll take, division rival. I'll take the home team here, the Bucks. I think are just a better team.
Desmond Ridder went 8 in the NFL draft, and then you mentioned the Baker Mayfield play action.
Kyle Pitts or London?
Drake London went 8.
Okay, yeah, you said Desmond Ridder. Desmond Ridder not going.
But then Baker Mayfield play action. It's going to get me back to the Kevin Stefanski offense. Just real quick, Kirk Cousins, Baker Mayfield, he created that offense for quarterbacks like that. So next game up is going to get us the Vegas Raiders, man. They travel to Chicago, play the Bears in the quarterback-less game possibly. Jimmy G, he got released from the hospital. Justin Fields, you might as well chalk him out. He's doubtful. I don't know who the Raiders would start if they go back to what's his name, the rookie. I think
O'Connell, yeah. But I don't think think it's him. I think
Stidham?
Brian Hoyer.
Hoyer's yeah, you're right. Yeah. It is Brian Hoyer.
Blast from the past.
Yeah, so I mean, just really, what team could run the ball more, I guess, or force a turnover, or what quarterback could throw it up to their star receiver and go up and get it. And I'll probably take Tay Adams on that. I think he's a little banged up too, but he's going to be good to go for the game. The Bears, DJ Moore. I mean, it's just one of those guys. Someone's going to have to make a play in this game because it's not going to be, a flashy game by any means. Raiders on the road, tough environment in Chicago. The stadium's going to be rolling. But, I mean, Josh Jacob and the Raiders, I think they get it done. I think they establish this run game. Former rushing leader last year in the NFL. Think they get it done on the road against this Bears team, and the Bears are looking to pick 1 and 2 again in the draft.
Yeah, this game is going to be tough. You got Brian Hoyer, and the Bears, I believe, I forgot his name, but I think they're starting a rookie as well. So it's going to be ugly. No quarterback for either team. Super quick, over under 3.5. shows on Red Zone for this game? Like how like are you going over or under, bro? 3.5 appearances on Red Zone for this Bears Raiders game.
3.5's low, so I'm gonna take the over, but I think it's gonna be single digits possibly. Like, are we counting like an octo box at the start of the day? Like,
Nah, that's a given. Okay, we'll bake that in. So then we'll just go 4.5.
I'll still take the over because there's gonna be, they're gonna be like, look what happened in this game. Like nothing's gonna be happening, and then
it's gonna be Hanson
gonna
another punt from the Raiders.
This is the 12th punt of the game, an NFL record.
Yeah, that's how they'll get on.
And there's gonna be like a botch snap somehow, and just like how ugly the game is. Yeah. That's why they'll show it, like, because it's not mediocre football. It's gonna be bottom of the barrel football.
Yeah, it's not gonna be a good game.
Tyson Bagnet.
Yeah, I believe he's a rookie.
I mean, you might as well throw that boy Nate Peterman in the game, man. Third string.
Yeah, on that note, I'll take the Raiders.
Next game up, man. The Cleveland Browns go to Indianapolis to play the Colts. Gardner Minshew, starting quarterback, obviously. AR out for the season. Gonna go ahead and get that shoulder surgery. Mention those numbers you talked about earlier.
Just get it out of the way, bro.
We all
actually
know...
hold on. Let me go first, and I'll let you.
Okay,
I'm gonna be quick, bro. I'm gonna take the Browns, especially that defense. Gardner Minshew, not looking the best last week. Give me this Browns defense to just make it a super easy game for whoever's playing quarterback. I don't even know at this point.
So I'll get to that in a minute. Who is playing Browns? The stat everyone knows: Browns defense, 1,002 yards through 5 games, third best since '70. I mean, you might as well say the best because it was 1970 and 1971, those 2 years, maybe before the pass past 10 yards was invented. So it was probably just hard-nosed football. Browns are allowing a 7.5 QBR in man coverage this season against opposing quarterbacks. Myles Garrett last week, a 31% pass rush win rate against Trent Williams, the highest anybody has had against Trent Williams in his career. The Browns have allowed a whopping 52 first downs in 5 football games and a 23.1% third down conversion rate for opponents in third down situations against the Browns. And I also want to shout out the rookie right tackle, DeJuan Jones, 9 pressures in 5 games as I believe a 4th-round rookie drafted this year, stepped into Jack Conklin's role after he went down with another season-ending injury. I mean, he's looking to lead at that right tackle position, probably our best lineman this year, and he's a rookie coming in and just holding down that right side. He's held up. I think he did let up like 1 sack. It was against Bosa, but, I mean, he's been the best guy. Never gets any penalties. He's been holding down that right side. As far as our quarterback situation, Sean Watson, once again, did not practice. He said he has no control over the football and where it's going. It's a little frightening on that side of that aspect of things. He's still listed as questionable day-to-day. Once again, the Browns PR team handled it horribly. But, yeah, I mean, the run game, it started off slow, but Hunt and Ford, they got it going. I believe Ford had 50 rushing yards in the final 2 drives of the game last week. So he got it going in the 4th quarter, a little wear and tear on that Niners defense. And then quickly for the Browns defense, we want to shout out Ogbo Okoronkwo. I probably always mess it up. Dalvin Tomlinson, both those guys getting active in the backfield, 2 offseason additions. So shout out Andrew Berry for that. And Martin Emerson, number 1 lockdown man-to-man corner. First career pick, but P.J. Walker, Deshaun Watson, it doesn't matter. I mean, the Browns, you handle the 49ers, you should be able to handle the Colts. And Gardner Minshew, I mean, P.J. Walker didn't play great against the Niners, but he put the team in a position to win. He was able, whether he got those calls in the 4th quarter on that last drive, he made some throws that really, kept drives going early in the game that led to that touchdown drive. Amari Cooper made some big plays, showed why he's a wide receiver number 1. And so just give me the Browns, man. The best defense in the NFL. You can't deny it. And the numbers certainly aren't lying, man.
All right, I just have a quick question. So, like, as a Browns fan, like, are you even like somewhat concerned about what's going on with Watson?
Oh,
because
very.
like they said he was medically cleared, but then I guess they just didn't know. Like, even though Deshaun's medically cleared, like he just might not play. Like, do you think like there's something more than like just his shoulder going on? Like, is there something more to like? I don't even know like what's like. I've never seen anything like this. So like, like as a Browns fan, like, what's your opinion on like Deshaun
So
as of now?
I do think it's his shoulder. Is there any more going on? No. First off, the Browns, like I said, they botched this PR wise, and Kevin Stefanski is a horrible coach. Went ahead and said his quarterback was medically cleared to play when he did not play. Even if he was medically cleared, I'm pretty sure 99% of the rest of the league would have never thrown their quarterback under the bus. And I think I was watching.
Well, do you think like maybe there just like isn't any communication? Maybe he thought like since Deshaun was cleared, like he just play, and Deshaun's like, no, like I still, even though I'm clear, like I just don't feel right. And then maybe afterwards, Stefanski's like, oh shit, like I didn't think, like maybe I didn't think about that.
It could be, bro. That's why he's one of the worst coaches in the NFL. Like I mean,
like maybe I should have talked to you first before going on.
Like he's dumb. Like I don't know how to put it. It's a bone bruise, an internal bone bruise on his shoulder. I think the rotator cuff specifically. And you could say you're medically cleared by range of motion and everything, but no one knows how deep that bruise is. It's below the surface. You can't see it. You literally can't. So, yeah, if he has a full range of motion, but if he's coming through and he says he doesn't know which direction the ball is going to go in, like I think him not practicing the whole week and him being like, yeah, the ball is not really going where I want it to. I mean, that's pretty concerning, bro, because you try to throw a slant. That ball's, going 5 feet left, right, like it's a pick every time. So
another hypothetical: if the Browns like literally didn't have the best defense in the league, how upset would you be right now?
Oh, I mean, this season would just be over. I mean, the loss of Nick Chubb, and then you go ahead and lose your quarterback. I mean, I would have probably just said tank the season, man. Like they probably would have had to move a couple of pieces that were on contract years. Like it really would be bad. So if Deshaun doesn't play this week, I'm fine with it. Week 8, I think he got injured, week 4? So that'd be 5, 6, 7,
They just
8.
put him on IR? Like
No. Week 8 would be 4 weeks fully recovered. This rotator cuff is 2 to 6 week injury. They also don't know if he'll be 100% at all this season, but should be good enough to go. And I mean,
sounds like they should give him the Anthony Richardson treatment.
And just give him the surgery and
shut him down.
Yeah, I can tell you what, AR is not making 230 M's in a win now situation. Like, this is a win now situation. I mean, Jim Schwartz has his defense playing like it should have been during the whole Joe Woods era. And now you finally get it going, and now you don't have a healthy quarterback, so it kind of sucks. But once again, PR team, they sucked in handling it. Kevin Stefanski did the worst job a coach could ever do, because I think Shannon Sharp said it. He was like, are you trying to like outlast your quarterback that's on a contract for 5+ years, $230 million, while you have potentially are in a hot seat? Like, so that's how you lose a locker
smart
room.
thing to do would be like just win games and then save your job with your quarterback instead of trying to outlast them. Like,
yeah, like, bro, but I mean, he's just trying to like throw his quarterback. Horrible, man. It was handled horribly in typical Browns fashion. Just, some things I guess just never get right with this organization. And I do want to say I saw some cool Andrew Siciliano, the one that used to do the other Red Zone.
Mm-hmm.
Just calling the Browns game as a Browns fan, man. That shit had me lit, bro. But
another thing I've noticed about this Browns team, like I know like we always make fun of the LA teams, like the Rams and like the Chargers for like not having like any home field advantage like at all. Like where the Browns like might legit have one of the best home field advantages, like especially like there's just always horrible weather. Like it's always like light rain or it's like either super super cold, but especially like when the team's like a little competitive or like there's some hope. Bro, that stadium like the fans show out. It gets crazy in there, especially in this day and age where like home field seems to mean less and less. And I mean, it's even showing up in like the numbers and stuff. Vegas doesn't account for it as much anymore in terms of the spreads and stuff. But I feel like the Browns are one of those teams, like, whereas you can always count on like home field actually meaning something.
I mean, there's no doubt, bro. You get in there, dog pound. I mean, they make fun of it all the time. You got Lake Erie right there, man. I mean, you get the combination of the wind, and a lot of people are, coming for Jake Moody's head for missing that 41-yard field goal. Dustin Hopkins missed one earlier in the game. It was a little bit longer. It's not easy to kick in Cleveland. A lot of people talk about, the Steelers in the Allegheny, and what the wind does over there because of the little opening they have. I mean, the Browns don't have that exact opening, bro, but the wind's swirling. I think it was 17-mile-an-hour winds last week. And you're kicking on a dark field, rain coming down all day, grass is going to be wet. Like, it is not an easy place to kick. And
yeah, like, I can't remember the last time I in my head, it's like, oh, it's nice weather in Cleveland for that game. Like, it always seems like, oh, it's going to be some bad weather. Like, this might be one of those games. The Browns stick around.
Like I mean, that's why.
Like, it's legit. It's legit, like, a factor.
No, 100%. And it's, I mean, comparable to Buffalo and what they got going on. The home field advantage is unmatched. Dog pound, they always rock out. I mean, you got a team and you got a fan base that left Cleveland, came back to Cleveland at one point, have been abysmal their whole, the whole tenure of their existence. And you got fans going out there. I mean, there's one thing they have is that home field advantage. And a lot of people, they talk about, oh, we got the best fans, this and that. There's a lot of Browns players that I see. A lot of people in the NFL say we got the best fans, but I mean, I think there's just a belief in Cleveland that there really is no fair weather Browns fans. Like, you're either a Browns fan or you're not. And I see posts all the time, like, no one reps being from a state harder than people from Ohio. And I mean, bro, it's just in the identity just to go hard. So if you're a Browns fan, I mean, trust me, it's there, bro. I'd love to be out there for a game, bro. I'd probably be miserable with the weather, but the atmosphere.
Yeah, you gotta go to like week 1.
Week 1, sun shining. Like, I think that was the only week like you had good weather, but definitely up there, fan base wise. I mean, home field advantage unmatched. That's why they had Nick Chubb. I mean, workhorse running back for those games like that. It's a different breed, man, out there. No more hypotheticals now? We done?
Oh, that was it.
All right, bet. It's going to lead us, so in case you didn't know, I had the Browns. It's going to lead us to the Commanders versus the Giants.
Wasn't you?
In a NFC East showdown. Just give me the Giants. I really don't have much to say about either of these teams.
Good old NFC East showdown. Giants are at home. I just like Commanders' defense a little bit better, so I'm going to take the Commanders. Tyrod Taylor, I think he'll still be out there. Not too sure about Daniel Jones' availability. Saquon, did he play against the Bills? I think he came back last week. Wasn't really too effective. So it'll be nice to get him a week back healthier, but I think this Commanders defense, along with Sam Howell just being a better quarterback than Tyrod Taylor at this point, give me the Commanders on the road.
My pick for game of the week that's not prime time, we got the Lions traveling to Baltimore. Play the Ravens. I think it's going to be a good game. Lions on the road. You always talk about how dominant that offense is at home. They've gotten a couple signature wins on the road so far this season. This, a later test into the season. We're getting in October now. Lions playing the Ravens on the road, man. And the Ravens battling for that, AFC North title. Lions battling for that NFC North title. Both lead their divisions respectively. So it's going to come down. One team's got to win. One team's got to lose. I think it's going to be a great game. And I think you see Jared Goff, you always talk about how he plays in that dome. I think he gets a couple passes in there, but I think it's going to be a David Montgomery type game against this Ravens
Well,
front.
he's injured, so it's going to
Is
have
he
to be
out?
Jahmyr Gibbs.
Nah, they'll probably find another running back to play over Gibbs, but
Yeah, at this point, Craig Reynolds.
give
But
me the Lions, yeah.
yeah, I like the Lions too. And before we started, I was kind of telling you I was been kind of fading the Lions. I mean, I'm not oblivious. They're a good team, but it's like, oh, maybe the Bucks can get them off of a bye. But I think the Lions have officially entered that realm, whereas they're just a good team that's gonna beat like bad teams. Like, it's just a given. With that being said, I don't think the Ravens are a bad team, but I just feel like the Ravens have so much like potential, like missed out. Like, I feel like this Ravens team could be so much better than what they actually are. And I don't know, maybe it's just the AFC North. Like, it's just always one of those games. Like, they just always play a division rival, and those games are just always so ugly and not exciting at all. So maybe that has something to do with it. But I like Lamar. I think Lamar is going to have a good game. I think he'll continue to have a really good season. But in terms of overall, especially with the Lions, I mean, Amon-Ra St. Brown's got going. Then on defense, you got Aiden Hutchinson stepping up. Jameson Williams, he's back. He had a big touchdown catch against the Bucks. That just adds another wrinkle, a very explosive weapon for Jared Goff in that offense. Jahmyr Gibbs, maybe he'll be back. I know he was out the last couple weeks, so coming off of an injury, he might be a little slow, but another explosive weapon for them to use in the offense. And talk about that offensive line, the reason why Jared Goff that offense has just moved so much. He just has time in the pocket. Arguably, one of the top offensive lines in the league. That's why David Montgomery's running all over the place, because they're blocking well. So I just think the Lions are just a all around just really, really good team. And I think the Ravens will put up it'll be a decent game, but I just don't. I think the Lions get a pretty solid, convincing win on the road against the Ravens. I just think they're in different tiers in terms of teams, how they're playing. Saw a couple weeks ago, those Baltimore receivers just not on the same page, a lot of drops. They got a lot of young guys. Odell, he's not separating like he used to. They lost Dobbins. The run game's kind of up in the air. It just kind of seems like classic Ravens, whereas it's just Lamar and what else? Now it's just Lamar, a better scheme, and what else? So I don't think that's going to be enough to beat this Lions team that, I mean, honestly, they're looking like one of the top teams, maybe even a Super Bowl contender at this point in the year. So I think the Lions get a strong win on the road here, and I don't think it's really close.
It's going to lead us to another divisional matchup this week that it hurts my brain to say this is a horrible game. The Buffalo Bills, they play the Patriots in New England. Give me the Bills, man. Malik Cunningham maybe showed, maybe a little hope for winning a couple games this year, possibly. Just if Josh Allen can't win against this one, man, you might as well just go ahead and get rid of the coaching staff, because it'd be time. But give me the Bills on the road. The Patriots are probably one of the, not even, bro, they're my least fun team to watch, most boring team to watch. And like, they came into the season with something, at least of being a mediocre team, fringe playoff hopeful.
Yeah,
They're nowhere near that. They're Caleb Williams fringe right now.
Yeah, the Patriots have definitely been one of the most disappointing teams, probably the most disappointing team so far in this season, unless you're a Chicago or a Broncos fan. But I don't think the last time Josh Allen and the Bills lost to the Patriots, I believe, was that super windy game in Foxborough.
It was 5 passes thrown by Mac.
And Mac Jones was wearing a scuba suit underneath his uniform. So yeah, that was 2 years ago at this point. So 2-3 years ago. The Bills, they looked shaky, but I mean, it's the Patriots, man. As of late, they've always had their number. Josh Allen, I think he'll bounce back. Stephon Diggs, he'll get a bunch of targets. Won't be crying as much, maybe. But yeah, the Pats they've been very disappointing. Mac Jones has seemed to have regressed a lot for a former Pro Bowler. That's a stat for you. That'll be trivia in a couple, 10 years.
What quarterback working at
quarterback
McDonald's
made the Pro Bowl in 2020? Fucking Mac Jones. But yeah, the Bills are the better team. They should get this win here.
So just crazy stats I'm going to throw out from this game. December 6th, 2021, 14-10 game. Mac Jones went 2 for 3 for 19 yards. Jonnu Smith, who was Patriots tight end, he was the leading receiver, 1 reception for 12 yards. So he got 7 yards on his other completion. Josh Allen, he went 15 for 30.
He threw the ball a lot. Well,
yeah,
a lot,
50% completion. 30 times is a lot compared to 3. 145 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah.
Damian Harris, he had 10 carries, 111 yards and a touchdown.
What, sliding?
And Josh Allen was the leading rusher for the Bills at 6 carries, 39 yards.
Yeah, that's when Josh Allen just was doing everything himself, and they're like, "Yo, we gotta get a running back."
Yeah, I gotta see if Devin Singletary 10 carries for 36. Zach Moss, who's now balling, 8 yards for 20. That's just insane. I mean,
yeah, that was an ugly game. It was on primetime too. It was like a Monday night or Sunday night game.
Yeah, and Stevenson carried the ball 24 times for 78. So Damian Harris put his team on his back right there, but I don't know if it stands for much these days. But anyways,
Damian Harris that just got injured, I believe, right?
yeah. Well, there was a lot of memes of when he got
bus.
Yeah, what was on that ambulance? It's a little crazy, Buffalo. I mean, come on, it's wild. Anyways, Cardinals Seahawks, man. 12th man's gonna be rocking out. Cardinals. I mean, they put up heart. They got heart.
Wait, it's not at Arizona.
I don't think so. Maybe not.
I thought it was at Arizona. I could be tripping though.
Regardless,
it's
it's in Seattle.
Okay.
K1 back to practice this week. Starting practice.
That was today, I believe. Saw that.
Yeah, today.
Yeah.
So good news for Cardinals fans. I don't know what they're gonna do, but
it'll be fun. That's about it.
Yeah. Maybe just start rehabbing him, get him set for next year if he is your quarterback or not.
Yeah. Show him off so he looks good for another team.
Yeah, I mean, get some value. Who knows, man? But regardless of the fact, give me the Seahawks. They played an ugly game last week and really had a chance to win it. Couldn't close it out. Win the game in the fourth quarter down the stretch. Against the Cardinals, it should be an easier task, easier opponent. They got to get it done. I mean, 12th man, that is also one of the better home field advantages in the NFL. So give me the Seahawks.
Yeah, the Seahawks had a tough time scoring the ball in the red zone at all against the Bengals last week. On the road, like you mentioned, another hostile environment up there in Cincinnati. So, yeah, Seahawks at home against the division rival Cardinals. They've been a fun team, but they still only have 1 win, so not really much there. Yeah, the Seahawks should take care of business. So give me Seattle at home.
To be honest, man, they're more fun to watch than the Broncos, Patriots, literally any other. All right, bro. The Browns. Anyways, bro.
Yeah,
next game
it's
up,
2023,
man.
bro. We don't want all that good defense. We want to see scoring.
I'm sorry, we had a third-string quarterback in the game. Next time, we'll just throw our $230 million.
Well, yeah, that's why they're more fun to watch.
The Steelers travel to not home field advantage at SoFi to play the Rams.
Yeah. The Steelers travel to have home field advantage.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. The only loss here is the Rams aren't dealing with the time zone change, and the Steelers are.
Yeah.
So, still, with that being said, man, give me the Rams, bro. Talk about least exciting team to watch in the NFL. The Steelers are up there, man. I mean, you want to talk about defense and no offense. Well, they've done at least 7 games of that.
The Steelers excluding Kenny Pickett on his last 2-minute drive. That's good offense. Like that pass he had to George Pickens.
Oh, I mean, yeah.
No.
That was a totally different offense. That wasn't the same team.
And it's always like that. I know last year against the Raiders, Kenny Pickett had like that game-winning drive. So it's like in the fourth quarter, like with under 2 minutes, this is a fun offense to watch. Any other time, I want no part of it. But crunch time, Kenny, yeah, it's a good offense.
They were like, oh, he killed Matt Canada's sorry run play. Like, I'm like, fam, why doesn't he kill him more times in the game? Like, bro, just say fuck it, bro. Yeah, like, what do you have to lose?
Jalen Warren's on the field, not Najee.
No, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, so it's more explosive, yeah.
Yeah, bro, give it to Jalen Warren, bro. I don't know why that guy's not starting, but I picked the Rams. Matt Stafford, Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua. Offense is looking solid. They struggled last week, but expect them to kind of get back on track. Big game coming from them. I mean, I think the Steelers' secondary is banged up, man. So give me the Rams at home / on the road.
Yeah, I think this is a game where you can just kind of see the value of TJ Watt, and this could be one of those games like a team like the Rams, I think is a team where he can just single-handedly win. Mm-hmm. But I don't think it'll happen this week. I like the Rams as well. You mentioned Stafford, that connection with Cooper Kupp, it's like they didn't even miss a beat at all. Cooper Kupp back in that offense, producing, getting open. Puka Nacua, he's taken a slight step back to Cooper Kupp, but he's still been very, very good. Although he had a tough touchdown drop in I think the first quarter last week. But regardless, he's still been very productive. He's a really good player. And defensively, the Rams have been kind of surprising. They've been, serviceable. So it'll be fun to see. Although I believe Kyron Williams, running back, he might be banged up a little bit, might not play, but it doesn't matter. They got Matt Stafford. They'll throw the ball a bunch against this Steelers team. And TJ Watt can give Matt Stafford just a little bit of time. Like you mentioned, that secondary, not the best in the world. I think they'll be able to move the ball pretty well. And I think Kenny Pickett will have the ball in 2 minutes, but it just won't mean anything.
Yeah, Kyron Williams, I think he's going to be out for they expect him to miss definitely this week, probably multiple too.
I think it's an ankle. Everyone's rolling their ankles, man.
Yeah. Next game up, divisional AFC West matchup. Those same Chargers travel to Arrowhead and play the Chiefs. And, we always talk about divisional matchups. It might be, kind of a coin toss, a little different. Well, the Chiefs find ways to win games, whether, the refs bail them out. The Chargers find ways to lose games. Shout out to the Chargers fan that they showed last week.
That lady.
Yeah, the lady who's now their Twitter pro. They were like, oh, this is what Taylor Swift dreams to be. I mean, she had heart, bro. We always talk about heart, bro. That's the most important thing, man. So, if they show her over Taylor Swift, I wouldn't be mad, bro. They need to get her out to Arrowhead or something. Like a little competition, a little cam showdown between her and T Swift. But give me the Chiefs, man. I mean, the Chargers, like I said, find ways to lose football games, whether it's Staley going for it 4th down in his own territory with, a one-score game is absolutely insane sometimes. And you can't even say analytics, it's just bad coaching. So give me the Chiefs, who are very well coached.
Yeah, maybe they can have Taylor Swift, the Rams fan, and Kelsey's mom all together in the same box. That'd be fun, yeah.
The big three.
Yeah, girl power. Yeah, looking at this schedule and looking at the picks or whatever, I was like, divisional matchup. Herbert and the Chargers, they usually play the Chiefs pretty well. But then I was like, do I want to pick Chargers? And I was like, you know what? Let me just, take the players off of the field. You got Andy Reid versus Brandon Staley. And after that comparison, I picked the Chiefs. So give me the Chiefs at home.
It's a good way to break things down, man. Next game up.
Let's keep it simple.
The Green Bay Packers, man, playing the Denver Broncos. And we just talked about the Broncos, being the least fun team in the league to watch. And I mean, it's true, man. The Packers, I think they're coming off a bye, right?
They are.
So, especially after coming out, I think they lost the last time out.
They lost to the Raiders Monday night. Yep.
Yeah. And that was a good game. Came down to the wire. The Packers, we mentioned, they're a young team. They're up and down, highs and lows. Well, it seems like a lot of teams have their highs against the Denver Broncos, and
That's very true.
so, I mean, just for that fact, Aaron Jones probably coming back. They finally get their, RB1 back, and A.J. Dillon can take his go back to the bench, and maybe Jair can talk about this offense a little differently this week. Give me the Packers on the road. Just they're one of those frisky teams.
Yeah, the Packers, they started off the season really hot. Matt LaFleur, was doing his thing, play calling. Jordan Love looked super comfortable. Then it got a little rocky right before the bye. So I think look to see LaFleur in this offense kind of go back to what was making Jordan Love a lot comfortable. Where he was playing some really good football. Christian Watson, he gets another week to get back healthy. Use that bye week to get more comfortable in this offense. They got some young playmakers, and like you said, they're a young team, up and down. And I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. We always talk about those get right games. I mean, the Denver Broncos are like someone you want to have circled on your schedule in terms of a get right game. So, give me the Packers and Mile High.
Imagine having a get right game after a bye, bro. Like that's a double down. Like you got the blackjack table. You might split the cards, double down, whatever. But that's definitely it. Now, game of the week. I mean, it's got to be between us. I mean, the Miami Dolphins, they travel to the most hostile environment as far as the people in the stands. The Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, dude, you see what the Philly fans do out there in this NLCS, man. It gets wild. I did see a Swift and Terrell Edmonds at the game, though. And boys were showing out the other night. They didn't know who Kyle Schwarber was either, so maybe they need a little coaching up on baseball. But Dolphins, Eagles, man, you let me take the Browns. I want to hear your thoughts on these Eagles. You mentioned the tough part of their schedule starts now.
It does, and a bad loss to the Jets. Unfortunate. Injuries piling up. I believe last week there was like a point in time we legit had one starter on the field from our secondary, I believe. And that was James Bradbury, who early in the year he was banged up, so not the best. Defensively, I really like what we're doing. Even though we did have all those injuries, that front seven is really, really starting to heat up. Hassan Reddick, I believe, is on pace to have more sacks this season than he did last year. And I believe he was up in the 20s, and he didn't have a sack, I believe, the first two games. So he's really, really heating up. Josh Sweat also playing very, very well. Jalen Carter, we've talked about every week, one of the best, not even young defensive tackles, one of the best defensive tackles, period. He was out last game with the ankle. He's back, should be back on track to play in this game, and if we want to win, we're going to need him. Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham, those guys have been very serviceable. They've been good. Linebackers have been decent as well. Nakobe Dean came back. He was on a snap count last week, but when he was in the game, he looked good. So, I mean, I believe this entire season the defense have only allowed one score off of a turnover, and we'll talk about Jalen Hurts, second in the league in interceptions. So that's super good. And the only score they allowed was the one at the end of the game, where the Jets, I believe, had plus field position. So defensively, you can't really ask more. Them guys are trying to do the best they can. Slay was out last game. Reed Blankenship, our good safety, he got banged up last game as well. I forgot who was the corner we signed like literally right before the game. Was it Roby Coleman? Someone like that. I don't know. An old corner who was like decent, but he got banged up as well. So, the weakest point on our team was the secondary before, and they're already super banged up. So Edmonds, he's been healthy, but I mean at this point he's Terrell Edmonds, not a game changer, but it's tough, man. It's really tough. So you're gonna want to see that secondary step up. Eli Ricks, the young promising rookie, he got banged up a little bit as well last game too. So hopefully we see some of those guys come back. I believe Slay, he should be back next game. That'll definitely help. Not sure how much, but it'll help. And then offensively, that's where everyone's got the questions. It doesn't look like the same offense without Shane Steichen. Jalen Hurts has regressed. This, that, the third. Offensively, I think we're okay. The play calling, yes, I like to see it be better, but Jalen Hurts was playing really good the first 3 quarters. He's made a lot of nice plays. Him and AJ Brown have one of, if not this, maybe the second best connection behind the team we're playing in terms of quarterback receiver duo. But I mean, it's up there with anybody. I put it up there with any team right now. The run game, it's always going to be there, but then again, we go back to the injuries. Lane Johnson rolled his ankle last game. He's questionable return. I'm seeing some positive signs saying that he's doing everything he can. Don't count him out. It's not a major injury, more of a pain tolerance thing. So hopefully he's back out there. I don't want him to, re-aggravate anything. But last game was, I think, was the game Jalen Hurts has been under pressure the most the entire year. And you got to give credit to the Jets as well. That defense is super, super good. They've put out some really nice performances against 3 very good quarterbacks in terms of Mahomes, Josh Allen, and now Jalen Hurts. So you'd like to see Jalen Hurts get back to that Super Bowl level where he just looked unstoppable on the ground and through the air. I think it takes time. We'll see, as the season progresses, that offense will get clicking more because you got to think, if you look back to last year, they were in a very close game against the Jags as well. Cooper Rush, when the Cowboys came in and Dak was out last year, they took them down to the wire at home too. So there were some close games there. I think they kicked the game-winning field goal against the Cardinals last year early on in the season as well. So it wasn't, all perfect last year either. There were some bumps in the road, and then we had the loss to the Commanders. So maybe this Jets loss can be kind of similar to that, whereas, it's just a bump in the road. You want to see those guys get involved more. Devontae Smith, a super, super important part of this offense. He hasn't been getting the targets he needs. So I think, especially after that loss against the Jets where the Eagles should have won, they'll definitely take a look at some stuff. I think the defense is going to be good enough to, hang around, make games close to keep our team in the game. And offensively, everything's there. We just got to put it together. So I think as we just keep playing more, as Jalen Hurts gets more and more confident, because once you see Hurts doing that thing where he looks like he was a rookie again, where he's in the pocket and then just starts looking around and then scrambling, it's not good. We need the Jalen Hurts that's standing in the pocket. He's a big, strong quarterback and, making those deep throws. The big play is always there. So I want to see them what the Jets did, knowing they were down 2 quarterback corners. They did their best taking away the big plays. So kind of, play to what the defense gives us. With that being said, this Dolphins team, I'm not confident at all. I'm just going to say it. We in South Florida, so we get all the Dolphins games on cable, and it's like every time I look up, it's just Tyreek Hill running by someone or Raheem Mostert dancing in the end zone. Like, it's just one of those two things, always. Like, that's just it. They have the best offense. It's not even close, really. The way McDaniel's scheming thing open, and Tua, he's just playing maybe the best a system quarterback has ever played, if you want to say he's a system QB. Like, what they're asking him to do and what he's able to do, being super, super accurate in those short to intermediate areas. And then it's like, oh, you got Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill on the outside, so I don't got to be accurate down the field. Just give them a chance. They'll make plays and run past people. So that definitely helps. Defensively, the Dolphins don't really pose much of a threat. Saw, I think Bradley Chubb got a sack last game, so it was nice to see him get going.
About time.
Yeah, I think defensively, I don't think the Eagles will have a problem moving the ball. It's just, will they be able to keep up with the Dolphins? Not too confident about that. The only hope we have in this game, we got to just use the Bills blueprint, man. Put a lot of pressure onto him, make him uncomfortable, take that first easy read away, just try to make him hold on to the ball as long as possible. And lucky for the Eagles, the best part of this team right now is our front seven. If we get a lot of that pressure up the middle from Jalen Carter, I think that'll really, really help Hassan Reddick. He keeps getting better and better. He continues to heat up. Josh Sweat, Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox, all these names that we know have been, successful in the NFL at this point. They got to have their A game. They got to help the offense out. Give the Eagles the ball in plus territory a couple times. Maybe get a turnover here or two. Because going against this Dolphins team, you're going to need every single point you can get. Every single chance you can get to score points. It's going to be tough. Eagles are at home. So I'm gonna pick the Eagles. But it could get ugly quick. I'm very aware how bad this could get, but I'm going to believe in the Eagles. I guess there was a players meeting after that loss to the Jets. Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, everyone's stepping up, telling guys, we got to look in the mirror. We got to be accountable. Devontae Smith had a little press after the game, had a bad drop, very uncharacteristic, asking, what happened there? What can you learn from? He just, he's like, nothing, catch the fucking ball. And, that's what it is. That's what it comes down to. These guys just got to make the plays they're capable of. If everything is clicking and we get the Eagles that, we've been dying to see all year, then I think the Eagles can run away with this game. But if the Eagles have been playing the way they have so far this season, I think it'll be close and it could get ugly. But I'm going to believe in the Eagles. It could go either way. If I wasn't an Eagles fan, I might have picked the Dolphins. But I am an Eagles fan, so I think Philly gets back right. They get a big statement win, prove that they're still, one of, if not the best team in the league, and they get back right and give Tua and the Dolphins some struggles. So that's what I'm hoping, and that's what I'm going to rock with.
So I'm surprised I even remember this. Bradley Roby was the corner that you talked about way back
Bradley
in the beginning.
Roby,
he was former Bronco,
good on the Broncos,
veteran.
yeah. And the Saints, too, I believe.
Yeah, probably.
He got injured, yeah.
Bradley Chubb, that was his second sack of the season. So he's played in every game as well. Like, I'm like, dang, like sacks are low. I mean, Jalen Phillips really my guy coming into the season, who I expected to be, the leading pass rusher on his team. I think he's only played in a game and a half. So good to have him back. Ogbo's got 2.5. Zach Sealer leads the team with 4, with Van Ginkel tied. And Van Ginkel's been the most surprised player. Wilkins getting his 3.5. We know what he can do. Forced to be reckoned with on the inside. My problem with this defense is, they bring in Vic Fangio. This is the guy that's supposed to get the defense right from, I can't even think about the coordinator's name last year, but maybe I'll get it one day. But it was a lot of cover zero, man-to-man, blitz, man coverage. And Vic Fangio's kind of the opposite, man. He doesn't draw up a lot of blitzes. He sits back and plays a lot of zone, maybe a little cover 2 man. But against that Bills team, that's where you really saw it, because that cover 0 was the only thing that was effective against that Bills team. Yeah, sure, you'd get burned on some plays. That's what happens when you run, one-on-one man coverage. There's got to be something that changes on this defensive side of the ball for them to truly be Super Bowl favorites like I think they should be. Moving on, I think Jalen Hurts is going to be just fine. You mentioned the quarterbacks that the Jets have been played. The Jets are the second best defense in the NFL. Don't get that wrong. 49ers are 3. I put the Cowboys at 4, but the Cowboys, they do something better than the other teams, and that's scoring the football defensively compared, to other teams. And that's something the Dolphins don't do. They don't create turnovers. They've created 3 fumble recoveries, and they have more fumble recoveries than interceptions. They have 1, 2. I think it's 2. 2 picks, and one of them's by a defensive end. So Xavier Howard's the only one that has a pick this year. Kader Kohou's been playing a lot on the outside. I've talked about how he needs to get moved inside. And just let Eli Apple be burnt toast on the outside, because it's better to have Kohou in the slot where he is really effective and really good than 2 subpar corners trying to get him to play outside. Nonetheless, I think that Eagles offense is going to be all right, but Players meeting, really? Players only meet. You know what that means, bro?
Not like players like in the locker room.
Yeah, but it's a players only meeting. We've played on teams, man. I don't know if you've had a players only meeting, bro, but they not, it's bad when there's a players only meeting, but
yeah, and we're 5-1, so
I know, bro. That's what I'm saying. Like, so it could be really bad or really good. I mean, no in between, but I think they're fine. Tua is not a system quarterback, so just want to get that out the way. Yeah, you benefit from a scheme. I'm sorry that our coach is offensively gifted, actually, compared to some other coaches in the NFL that can't draw up plays to get their star players open because that's what they get paid to do. Like, but Tua's just doing everything he's being asked of. You mentioned the intermediate routes. I mean, he's throwing the ball downfield, air yards or not. I mean, yeah, it helps having two of the fastest guys in the NFL to just be able to, like, throw it deep. But at the end of the day, you got to go out and win football games. You got to go out and execute. And you got to go out and make plays. He has been sloppy at times when that first read was taken away. Last year, he was able to go through the progressions a little more. I think he just needs to get his feet back under going through those progressions at game speed once again. And I think he's starting to do that as well. You said this game could get ugly, but I know that Eagles secondary is banged up, but I don't know. I think it's going to be a good game. Maybe a 10-point difference, maybe not a 20-point blowout where we see, quarterbacks late. But I think the Dolphins defense finally step up and make a play. And I'm going to call it. It's going to be a sack. It's going to be Jalen Phillips because we can't get a turnover. That's what I'm going with, man. Dolphins on the road. Best team in the league right now.
If Jalen Hurts can just protect the ball better than what he has been, and a lot of his interceptions and stuff have kind of been flukes. He had 3 interceptions last game, and 2 of them were just like not really his fault. The last one was, kind of a bad just heave chuck up. But regardless, we've had like a lot of just unfortunate breaks just not go our way when it seemed like last year every single thing was going our way. So just a little adversity. If Jalen Hurts can just protect the football, maybe get the run game going a little bit, it'd be nice to lean back into that. Swift has been super, super good this year. Gainwell's been serviceable as well. Christian Wilkins is going to be a problem, but on that defensive line for the Dolphins. But we got a pretty solid interior offensive line. You got Kelsey there. Hopefully he can hold up just a bit. But I think it's going to come down to our defensive front 7 making plays. Hassan Reddick, Jalen Carter, Josh Sweat getting back there, disrupting Tua, and then just helping out our offense in that secondary a little bit, giving the ball, like I said, to the offense in plus territory where we haven't been that good this year in the red zone, but maybe, we cook some stuff up. Brian Johnson, he's had a rough first couple games. A lot of the Eagles fans, a lot of the discourse, in the social space, a lot of people calling for his job. I don't think just yet, but he's definitely on track for not being an offensive coordinator. And then the secondary, that's been kind of the weakest point of our team all year. Having Slade back healthy definitely helps, but, when you're going against Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, I don't think it really matters who you put out there. They're going to be open. It just comes down to, can we get to Tua before he can, find those open guys down the field, and can we kind of protect the ball offensively and find those bigger plays because we got the playmakers. Like I mentioned, Dallas Goedert, he's a really, really good tight end. I didn't even mention him, but A.J. Brown has been on fire this year. I think he has the most consecutive 125-yard plus games in NFL history. So I believe he continues to stay hot. He gets going again, and then we want to see Smitty get involved too. So protect the ball offensively, run the ball a little bit, take those big shots, hit those big plays, when they come, because you'll get 1 or 2 every game. It's just you just got to hit them. And then defensively, hopefully Jalen Carter's back. He's been a super, super big part of this defense. He's way ahead of target. Jordan Davis, who I didn't even mention, he's been super solid this year as well in terms of stopping the run, even giving a little bit of juice pass rushing. So that front 7 on defense, I think they step up. I think they make a couple big plays, and offense takes advantage of maybe a turnover or 2 or some good field position. I think the Eagles can squeeze this one out at home. like I can see it happening either way. Like there's a world where the Eagles blow the Dolphins out. There's a world the Dolphins blow it out, and then both teams can win a good game. Like they're just two. They're not similar teams, but two teams that have strengths and the other team's weakness. So it'll be fun to see how those play out.
Literally, I said it, bro. Game of the week, man. But it's gonna lead us to Monday Night Football. 49ers Vikings. Vikings catching a win. Maybe J-Jet come back. Kirk Cousins here to stay. We'll talk about some trade rumors next week with the trade deadline approaching. But for this week, man, Niners on the road going to the Vikings. Can the Niners, do they drop 2 in a row on the road to the Minnesota Vikings? Does Kirk Cousins and company, can they get it done? I don't think so, man. But banged up Niners or
he wasn't
not,
fooling
man.
nobody with that shit, bro.
You tell me that didn't sound good for a little second.
I mean, maybe it sound good, but nobody falling for that shit, bro.
Like, give me the Niners, man. Brock Purdy, he'll bounce back. You mentioned the weather. Also went up against one of the greatest defenses of all time.
Here we go with that
Since
shit
the
again.
Steel Curtain, probably better than Steel Curtain, or any of those Ravens defenses. I mean, it's up there. I'm obviously just kind of playing around, but they could go down as, one of the greats. But it was a great defense. The Vikings nowhere near on the defensive level, considering they're looking to move their best player on defense. Regardless of the fact, Niners, McCaffrey, Mason, I don't care who's in the backfield, Debo,
Elijah Mitchell.
Yeah, like, just give me the Niners on the road, man. Primetime Kirk. It's in the script.
Yeah, talk about bounce back get right games. I mean, this is another one. This is just prime for the 49ers to dominate, and it'll be another one of those games where the Browns are going to play the Colts in the 1 o'clock window. They're going to have a good game. The defense is going to continue to be really solid. Nothing's going to really happen like crazy, but, the Browns are just going to continue to play a really good game. And then we get the Vikings 49ers on prime time. Fred Warner is going to, have a crazy interception. Maybe Nick Bosa, makes a sack. Then everyone's going to be like, oh, the 49ers, best defense in the league. This team's unbeatable. But then it's going to be the Browns really just beat them last week, and everyone was saying the Browns are the greatest defense, of all time. This year, there's been a lot of flip-flopping, and, every defense is, the greatest defense of all time. So it just kind of depends on,
weak bias.
And, who's watching, prime time. There's going to be more people watching the 49ers and Vikings. So whenever the 49ers do something offensive or defensively, it's going to seem better because just more people are watching, whereas the Browns are, I'm sure – they're very capable of making those crazy defensive plays, but even if they don't, even if they just have a really solid game and maybe only give up 10, 13 points to the Colts, it's nothing crazy, but they're getting the job done, continuing their great statistical run. I'm sure it'll be overshadowed by a flashy Fred Warner, not even interception. He'll just cover he'll cover
30 yards downfield.
Yeah, he'll cover the third string
TJ Hawkinson.
Not even the third string receiver right now for the Vikings because Justin Jefferson's out, so I don't even know who it is. He'll
KJ Osborne's too, or Jordan Addison. There's
not even he'll run with KJ Osborne on a crosser. And he's the greatest coverage linebacker of all time. He's don't get me wrong,
Cam Akers in the hole.
I'm not hating. Fred Warner's a beast. He is the best linebacker right now in the NFL, and the 49ers do have a good defense. It's just I don't like how every week there's just another greatest defense. Just pick one, bro.
You mentioned Fred Warner, greatest linebacker in the league. When I talked about the Browns, I didn't shout out my boy JOK. Played his best game as a Cleveland Brown last week, and I love it, man. A-Walk went down with a concussion. He took over that defense linebacker role, so he needs a little love. But Fred Warner, best in the business. You're right. So is that all you got?
Yeah, this Dolphins-Eagles game, bro, this shit going.
Well, we know he's having nightmares tonight, man.
I'm not having nightmares. It's just
you like the Giants D coordinator?
Fuck no, I'm not.
Sleeping like a baby tonight.
I'm not like anybody from the Giants, bro. Tighten up.
Anyways, man,
I think Jalen Hurts gets back right, bro. Just he had a rough fourth quarter. That's it. The first 3 quarters he was balling. He had that one play, bro. He was literally he threw a sideline pass to AJ Brown like a defensive lineman like draped on him. He's like stiff arming him as he was throwing it, like pinpoint accurate to the sideline. So Jalen Hurts will be all right.
All right, yes or no question. The Dolphins break out a new TD Selly this week against the Eagles?
No.
All right. Well, I'm betting you.
Oh, they probably will. They'll score.
Well, we wagering this game, bro. Just a yes or no. We don't got to say the wager right now, bro. It's a yes or no.
What, putting money on the game?
Yeah. I mean,
come on, bro. You know I'll never say no to that.
Yeah, I say less, man. All
I'll
right.
bet on
Yeah, so it's a little high stakes coming into next week's episode, man. A little friendly wager, tight. You know, we'll get into it, man.
Jalen Hurts bounce back, gets back on track, has time. AJ Brown deep over has Eli Apple turned around in coverage.
Well, I was just about to throw out the X kid.
Yeah, the person that just got, who was that? Adam Thielen or whatever, just shitted on him last week for the Panthers. Like,
fam, you asking? I gotta say, Jalen Ramsey, he's got 21 days to come back off IR, returning to practice, man.
And Joe will be back this week, so I ain't worried about it.
Finna be an island out there for them boys, and then you finally get Kohu back in the slot 24/7, man. But I think we could go on all day about this one.
Jerome Baker looking a little washed too.
Jerome Baker is washed, bro.
He been hanging out with what's the name?
A little buoyant boot up, bro. Man, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Jerome Baker, the playmaker, man. Anyways. Is that Duke Riley effect, I think, but
Duke Riley.
Go episode 61.
I like Robbie to have a big game though.
I don't even want to do an outro anymore, bro. There's no way you're naming like the fourth string wide receiver right now talking about he having a big game.
He be on the field though.
He does. I mean, he'll get a couple the fourth string wide receiver, bro. Like you said that as a joke.
Cause being real, bro.
I mean, he would torch that Eagles secondary, so.
Yeah, Tua not gonna have time to throw it, so it won't really matter. He'll be open. He just can't get it to him. Jalen Carter. They say the worst pressure for a quarterback is right up the middle, bro. Like so. Oh, it's prime time too. You better hope Tua don't get hurt.
All right, bro. Now we got all right. No, episode 61. Go to GoPod, TikTok.
Could get ugly.
Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all that, man. Episode 61. Appreciate everyone tuning in, man. And until next week when the Fins catch a dub, man, peace.